So I made a big decision to upgrade from my Google Pixel 2, which I did love, to the infamous Galaxy Note 10 Plus back in August 2019. And usually by now I am honestly itching to get my hands on the new tech, such as the Note 20 or even the Fold series. But I'm not so sure I'm ready to give up my Note 10 Plus just yet. So that's what I want to talk about today, why I think the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus is still a great phone in 2021, and why it's the #1 ex-flagship phone I'd probably recommend to people if they can get their hands on one. Stay tuned and let's talk about it some more. Guys, welcome back to Take It Easy. Before we start the video, write down in the comments section what your immediate thoughts are on the Note 10 Plus in 2021. Do you think it's still a good phone? Or if you don't like it, write down what you'd have instead. I'm really interested to see what you guys think. Anyway, the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, what a phone. And with the recent release of One UI 3.0, it's feeling fresher and snappier than ever. Now, Samsung have said that they will discontinue the Note 10 series, but you can still definitely find them brand new, going anywhere between £500 and £750, which in my opinion is excellent value. No, they don't have the blisteringly fast Snapdragon 8655 or even the B55 Plus, but the B55 it ships with is still ample for what any average consumer would really need. And the same can be said for the Exynos processor. I know it gets a lot of stick, but that's personally the one that I have in this phone and I've had no issues with it. I've used the Note 10 Plus heavily every day since I got it, from watching movies and TV shows every morning on the way to work, and even starting a YouTube channel with it. Yep, that's right, until a few months ago, every single video was actually recorded with my Galaxy Note 10 Plus. And in that time, despite recording 4K 60 FPS every single day, almost, I've never ran into any issues even when the storage has been virtually maxed out on it. And yes, I suppose we should go ahead and talk about the camera on the Note 10 Plus. So we have a 12 megapixel primary, 16 megapixel ultra wide, and 12 megapixel telephoto lens. No, it doesn't have the insane zoom that the Note 20 or the S21 has, but honestly, I think that's a bit of a marketing gimmick. I can only think of a few situations I might want to use that feature, and if I did want to use it, it's probably not for taking a photo, it's probably for reading a sign that's really far away. And even to this day, I haven't used the telephoto lens once on my Note 10 Plus, and I'm always taking photos and videos, as you well know. Speaking of marketing gimmicks, you might be thinking, but Alex, the Note 20 and the S21 have 8K video recording. Well, it might very well do, but very few of us have an 8K TV or display. People are still catching up with 4K, so again, in my opinion, it's very nice to have, but it's still a bit of a marketing gimmick. The Note 10 Plus shoots up to 4K 60 FPS, which is more than enough for most of us. I will admit that cameras have made huge leaps since the Note 10 Plus was released, but I don't think anyone would consider the Note 10 Plus camera bad at all. And in my opinion, it's still pretty future-proof, especially now with the Pro Video and Pro Photo modes, giving you that extra flexibility to be creative. Another thing that I think still looks insane is the screen. It's just stunning to look at. It's got a pretty bright screen, especially when you compare it to things like the iPhone XS Max. It tops out at around 793 nits, so you're going to be able to see this really easily when you're in direct sunlight. Now, where the Note 10 Plus does start to struggle a bit compared to newer smartphones is the refresh rate. 120Hz is now a very sought after feature on phones now, and I have to admit at least 90Hz would have been nice to see here. But is that really going to change my overall opinion of this phone? No. I mean, many people even struggle to see the difference between 60Hz and 120Hz. So for at least the average consumer, it's not going to affect your overall experience with this phone. Also, do consider that a high refresh rate screen will affect battery life, which does bring me on to another important point. So the Note 10 Plus does ship out with a 4300 mAh battery, which equates to around 10 to 11 hours of battery life. And whilst I'll admit sometimes those numbers can be a stretch, it does generally get me to the end of the day, even with heavy usage, but cutting it a little bit close for my liking. So you might be thinking, okay, so that's one reason I might want to upgrade to a newer, more recent model. Well, not necessarily. For example, the Note 20 Ultra has a 4500 mAh battery, which is rated for a similar amount of time running at 60Hz, definitely not more than the Note 10 Plus though. But then when you run it at 120Hz, you're only going to be getting around 7 to 8 hours worth of screen on time, which for me balances off the trade-offs of not having that refresh rate with the Note 10 Plus quite nicely. I do have a lot of good things to say about the Note 10 Plus, but there is a few things that I won't miss. For example, the fingerprint scanner is mediocre at best. It's very inconsistent and it's something that I've picked up on over time. Then there's the camera. Although I do maintain my statement that it's absolutely brilliant, I would like to see some higher frame rates, at least at 1080p, for doing some nice slow-mo shots. But again, not a feature that say an average consumer would miss. Then lastly, and it's not something I use often, but I have found the live focus feature to be a little bit off compared to similar features on other flagship smartphones. But honestly, I'm nitpicking here. I actually really had to spend time thinking about the bad parts of the Note 10 Plus. I'm still in love with this phone and I think the design still looks sleek and modern. Admittedly, one-handed operation can be difficult sometimes, and although I do like the look, the curved edges can cause a lot of accidental swipes and taps. But this isn't something that's unique to the Note 10 Plus, this will happen on any larger phone really. So to answer the question, should you buy a Note 10 Plus in 2021? Yes, you should. It's still an excellent phone and it still competes with some of the newer flagship phones out there. It does have some features that they have lost, including a slightly longer battery life and things like expandable storage. So if you're not used to flagship phones and you're usually put off by the price of the newer models, then maybe picking up a Note 10 Plus would be a great idea for you. That'll get you nice and close to a flagship experience without paying the premium price tag. So yeah, that was a quick recap and review of the Note 10 Plus in 2021. As always, let me know in the comment section what you thought. And if you are new around here, please do hit that subscribe button. But for now, thank you so much for watching and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.